Okay, folks, here's the F20B block that I've got completely stripped down that I got from Japan. And once I pulled the bottom end apart, found that I don't think the oil was changed for 50 to 60,000 miles. And I'm willing to bet that Honda oil filter right there is the OEM one that came with a motor. Again, I said this came from Japan. I don't know what the rules are out there. I guess they're not allowed to change oil or whatnot. But nevertheless, I got a fresh hone on it. I did that with a 240 grit flex hone. Cross hatching looks great. Camera isn't doing much justice, but it's actually a beautiful job. Alright, for the most part, this block is H22A4. Most of it. The tricky part is the fact that the bore is 85 millimeter. What I ended up doing with a stock piston, since I'm rebuilding it, is I went ahead and went with a B20B piston ring, 40 over. That gives you 85 millimeter. I checked the gaps, everything's happy, clearances are all good. Other than that, I'm going to recycle the old rods and make this thing a daily driver. Did some head porting, a few other things to it. That stuff you can find online, but I was absolutely impossible for me to find any information on this darn block, rebuilding it. And some important factors as far as the difference between an F20B and a H22A4 is, well, the main journals are the same. You can get away with using the crank, the main bearings, but the rod bearings are actually smaller. So if you check this out here, you cannot use the H22 bearings, and you cannot read this label here. Let's do a little better job at this here. Oh, there we go. No, that's still blowing chunks. Hang on a sec. Stupid camera light. Alright, there we go. That's the part number you need for an F20B if you're going to use ACL rod bearings. Other than that, like I said, the main bearings, H22A, you want that part number for the main bearings for the F20B motor. And there you go. Hopefully you can see that. Another thing I noticed when I had the motor apart, it looked like the rear of the motor, the number 3 and number 4 cylinders were lacking oil. I believe that's due to the balancer shafts leaking so much oil down in there. Supposedly this motor only had 50 to 60,000 on it, but long story short, I highly recommend tearing the thing down and doing a straight up rebuild on it. Lucky those guys over at Kazan Speed has this, excuse my French, really nice, well, I won't cuss, it's YouTube, but nevertheless, they have this nice balancer shaft removal kit. It's pretty simple. They got some great instructions for it. Very simple to do. Stock OEM pistons. I was able to clean them up pretty good, not too shabby. You can see little score marks right there, but I'm going to run the darn thing anyway. Massive amounts of carbon on these things. The oil holes in the side for the oil ring were clogged up in number 3 and number 4. This motor probably would have lasted 20-30,000 if I didn't do what I'm doing to it now before it started blowing massive oil through the motor. That's about as far as I can get. I'll do some more video later after I get the crank in and check all the clearances, the plastic gauge and that good stuff, but ain't that. I'll get to it. Oh yeah, one other thing I almost forgot. Like I said, the camera doesn't do much justice, but over the 26 years I've been building motors, I've done this to V8s, 4 cylinders, 6 cylinders, every single motor I've ever touched. If you're going to recycle a crank, check the clearances on it. And if you go over here, you see amongst all the cobwebs, the mother's mag and polish is there. You take some rags and you rip them in half, put some polish on there and make these things shine like a mirror. Because if you do that, what's that mean? Less friction, right? Oh, by the way, I've never lost a bearing after doing that. Almost forgot. I don't know if you can read that part number right there. That is ACL thrust washers, and those are the correct thrust washers for this particular motor. Basically H22A4, it's all the same. Your main bearings are the same, and as I mentioned, the rod bearings are different.